How's everybody doing? My name is Kurt Friedrich, and welcome to episode 41 of TNT Stocks. Today's actual date is February 8th of 2026. The simulated date is April 8th of 2028. First off, I'll just say this is the first episode of 2026. Took several weeks off for Army Reserve duties, and then the week prior to going to that, beginning of the year was pretty hectic, pretty busy. So been out of town, been really busy with other things. So yeah, this is really the first opportunity I've had to do an episode for this year, and I'll just go ahead and also say that it's been fun to watch what's been going on since our last episode at the end of 2025. So with that being said, we got a lot to unpack. So let's go ahead and get into the criteria and disclaimer, and we'll start unpacking what's happened over the last since last episode. So criteria, we do one video per week. We'll simulate 1 month. I'll create videos when available at home, not while traveling on Army Reserve duty or vacations. Any week with a missed video will not be considered a simulated month. As I said, pretty much been out of the loop for Army Reserve duty in a little bit of vacation as well. Each video will simulate loading $100 per month to the TNT Stocks account. All stocks bought in the simulation are actual companies with their actual end-of-week closing stock prices. Stocks can be sold between episodes at certain prices at per personal strategies. This month we bought 3 stocks with a price range of $5 to $100, spending capped at $370, which did a little research looking back. I believe that is the largest spending cap that we've had to date, which means that since the last episode we have sold some stocks, so more to follow on that conversation. So let us see what $100 per month will look like over time. Disclaimer, these videos are for entertainment purposes only. I'm not qualified or certified to give professional investment advice. Day trading has high risks involved. Any gain or loss is at a personal risk. Past performances do not guarantee success in future stock purchases. It is highly recommended that you do your own due diligence when it comes to deciding which stock you will purchase. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so of course, I still have our line items separated into 2 different slides because we have so many different line items that if I try to condense it all on one slide with the legend, I feel like it will be hard to read. There's a lot to unpack and information overload, and then plus depending on what type of monitor you're using, it may just be blurry and hard to see what all is really going on. But anyhow, basically, so let me just give a summary over since last episode. Things stayed kind of status quo. We did sell a few items, and then while I was gone, things really jumped up. So it was really fun to watch, and just kind of interesting also to see what a difference a year makes. Because at this time last year, when I was on my Army Reserve training and talking to people about playing the stock market, they asked me how things were going, and I said I was still going through a learning curve. I was really at that time only 1 year into it altogether. Now I'm 2 years into it, and I feel like I'm in a pretty happy place, and I feel like even in these videos we're in a pretty comfortable spot in showing a lot of growth. And so we'll see that here in the next few slides. And if you could tell from the thumbnail that I uploaded, definitely some growth since the last episode. All right, so we'll start from the top. And as always, AGL is still our top money loser. It closed Friday at 65 cents per share and is our top money loser. If we sold it Friday evening or Friday at closing, we would have had a loss of $35. And this continues to still be an eyesore. So since the last episode, I will say that AGL looked like it was coming back. I think at one point it did actually reach over $1 per share. Definitely hung in the 90s for a little bit. Really wasn't tracking on Friday at closing. So when I was uploading these or updating these slides and taking a look at it, I was kind of surprised to see that it's dropped back down to 65 cents per share, which is kind of where we left off. So a little disappointed that we didn't get to to see the growth that it was having, and then kind of surprised that I feel like that was kind of a sudden drop off to come back down to 65 cents. But either way, still continuing to be an eyesore. And again, if you're new to these episodes, I always mention that the platform I use charges a 10% fee if you buy under $2 per share. I don't know about selling, but just to stay consistent, I'm not selling AGL until it raises above $2 per share or until something different happens with AGL that I don't expect to see happen. So either way, that's still our top money loser. BTSG, Bright Spring Health Services, still continues to be our top money maker. You see it's still doing pretty well at about $80 if we sold it Friday at closing, and have close to 100% increase in BTSG. I would like to point out that BKD doing really well. You see, well, this first line item right here back in September, 93% increase. And then our one back at the end of October, 73% increase. So BKD has an opportunity and looking like it's poised to take over as the top money maker in our slides. All right, so what we sold. All right, AT&T will cover the next two line items. We sold basically 15 shares at $23.42 and took a hit of about $35 in AT&T. Now, I'll be honest, I just bought some more AT&T. I look at it, what they've done over the last few years, and they continue to grow, and it just seems like per my strategy is always wrong timing for AT&T. I seem to always catch them when they're on upward trend and then sell them when they're on their downward trend and then always lose out on them. So if you've bought AT&T or looking at them, just take a close look at how you want your strategy to be. I've been on and off with them pretty much since I began, and I don't think I've made any money off of AT&T. Well, if I have sold any of them, it wasn't much, but overall, always in the hole with them. So in this case, we took a hit of about $35 with them. INSW, we sold 2 shares at $47.67 and took a hit of about $10 with that company. Now moving to some bright spots. NFG, well, I wouldn't really call this a bright spot, but we did sell 1 share at $83.16 and took a gain of 71 cents. BTU, however, Peabody Energy Corporation. Here's our bright spot, taking us out of the negative for our overall income this episode. 8 shares sold at $34.95 and took an increase of about $45 with that company. So some good stuff moving on this slide, and then on the next slide you see ALHC. We sold 15 shares at $21.43 and had an income about $15 with that one. So we did, since last episode, we did take home some, increased our income and also increase our take home. But big high, well, first off, I'll just say that right now, all total on these shares of all these line items, we have 204 shares in our portfolio before we move out the items that we sold. But big note here, we finally broke 300. Not only did we break 300 in our over-under, we broke 350. So when we left off, 300 was a milestone mark we were trying to hit. I felt like it was, or no, I'm sorry, it was like 250, I believe. No, I'm backtracking again. Sorry. 300 was the milestone mark we wanted to hit. We did break that. We did meet that. And not only did we meet it, we went over 350. So we sold everything on Friday at closing. We would have an overall take home of $363.72, which is close to about 10% overall of what we really have, which is, I think, is really, really good. I really think that this illustrates the strength of our portfolio overall. And here we show it on this slide here, our over under, and how big of a jump that we had since last episode, going from about $80 to about $360. So really cool to see. Really glad to illustrate that, and really glad to talk about it. Really shows how much companies that we are investing in are moving in the right direction. You see here how much it just blew away the old record, which looking at my notes was about $290. So we went almost $70 over the previous record. So yeah, pretty cool to see. Let's hope it keeps up, keeps moving in the right direction. All right, with our income, so we did move up in the right direction with this one, even though we took some hits with what we sold. We overall took some gains on what we sold, moving from $65 to about $80, moving in the right direction. Not the record, which is set at looks like 80. Looking at my notes, $105. So not a record, but definitely moved in. We're keeping moving in the right direction. You see, back in January here, we were kind of took a big hit, but yeah, moving back in the right direction. And again, with how much we have grown our portfolio, when we do sell some of those companies that we had positive gains on, this needle is only going to continue to move in the right direction. And of course, our take home always is going to move in the upward direction. So basically, anytime we sell something with a positive amount, we take home half of it, put the other half of it back into the into our portfolio. And with this one, we broke our $250 milestone that we were wanting to hit. Previously to before I left the last episode, we were just shy at 245, so we just needed $5 more, and now we're up to 275. So not only did we break it by needed $5 more, we got an extra $25 to add to that, so we jumped from 245 to 75. So pretty cool to see. It's not our biggest jump that we've had. Clearly, you see back here in the September of this year was our biggest jump, but still pretty cool to see a movement in the right direction like that since the last episode. And here we have what we have overall invested. So basically, this slide just kind of illustrates what the shares that we have at their purchase price after we move all the items that we sold. You see it kind of did flatten out a little bit, but not really. This one's always going to kind of move in the upward direction. Sometimes you see it kind of dips a little bit low. That's fine. Just kind of how the purchasing of what we have plays out. But overall, we went from about $3,300 to about $3,400 on what we have invested. $3,286 to $3,353 for this side here. And then here we have our overall total. Basically, this is what this one is our shares at the what their current price is. So this one, we basically jumped from 3,800 to 3,900 on this slide here. So this one should always be moving in the upward direction. Really want to see a curve in the upward direction, but in this case, we still haven't seen it. Kind of expect to see it by now, but you see it just still pretty much linear. But overall, that's what we have in our portfolio, is about close to 4,000. We would round it up to $4,000. And here's what I nickname our spaghetti slide, our combined slide of over under income and take home all together. And you see pretty much since January of the previous year, now we're in March, April, all been trending in the right direction, moving upwards. And you see how over under really took a big spike on this one as well compared to the other lines in this graph. And then the second combined one, both of our invested in total. These typically are going to run parallel. We do want to see separation between them because it's going to illustrate the gap, or basically that a $300 difference of what we have purchased versus what we currently have potentially to sell. So these, typically run parallel to each other, but of course we do want to see more and more separation over time, which we're kind of seeing that trend going as we move forward. And then lastly, here we have the entire portfolio, removing Legend and removing those line items that we sold altogether. So what we have total is 163 shares total in our portfolio. And if we sold on Monday morning at opening, we would have an overall gain of about $350. Again, some key points of how well we're doing here. Tigo, 80%, BTSG, 100%, BKD, 90%, BKD here, 70%. We got a 20% CMRE, 11% with NC, and up FRO at 35%. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to speak on the previous portfolio of the line items we bought. B&R, Burning Rock Biotech Limited. We bought 10 shares at $340. Star Bulk Carriers Corporation, 17 shares at $22.72. And Warrior Met Coal Incorporated at 4 shares at $89.05. So we're really starting to increase the amount of money we're playing with. It'll be interesting to see how these do. The market could be correcting itself after some big gains over the past several weeks. Real time may correct itself, and these may drop. And if they drop, we're going to see some hits in our overall budget with this. So it's risky, but that's part of the game. Part of the game is a risk. They're calculated risk, literally calculated risk, because I'm only going off of a calculation that I generate on my spreadsheet. But it's really kind of the law of averages. And the law of averages has been paying off. So hopefully these pay off in the future. And all we can do is just keep playing the game and seeing how it unfolds. So with that being said, we'll wrap it up with that, and hope you all enjoy watching these videos. Welcome back after we've been off for a little while. It's glad to be back and talking about stock market. So continue to play the game and continue to grow your portfolios. So with that being said, good stock hunting, and don't forget to comment, rate, share, and subscribe. All of the above. Until the next episode. Take it easy.